Hey folks, Dave back here in Studio B, and we're going to talk more hockey bones today. Now, is this game the real deal, or am I just in the honeymoon phase? And that's the topic of the Digital to Dice this week, was the honeymoon phase, kind of prompted by the hockey bones, or the love I have for hockey bones right now. I've played a handful of games, so I can safely say that I'm enjoying this game quite a bit. I probably have 95% of the game down right now. There's still, there's always these little quirks, especially when it comes to penalties and power plays and odd man situations that, thumbing through the rule book or asking a question about. But 90 to 95% of the game is smooth as silk right now. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So let's get to, why I didn't want to play Hockey Bones. Number one was the rule book. The rule book was big. It was a long rule book and like that. And so I'm looking at this thing and I was like, yeah, I just the other rule books were like really thin, and this one seemed to be a lot of pages. And I thumbed through it real quick. And oh man, there's way too much to remember. So my initial thoughts was like, oh boy, it's kind of like if I go to buy a book. I like to buy a book like this rather than a book that's that thick. It's like, oh man, I'll never finish that. That's just kind of my first impression. So when I flipped through the rule book when I bought this game quite a long time ago, I don't know how over a year ago, I was like, yeah, I'm not ready for this. And I remember talking to Ron on the show and off the show about, I still have hockey bones. I know exactly where it is. It's tucked right over here in my little cabinet here. I know exactly where it is, and I got two teams printed out. I'm just not ready for it. I'm not ready to put in the time yet because I was playing so many other games that I was picking up like that, and shootout hockey and the Downey quick play games and things like that. And I wasn't ready to tackle what I thought was a bigger game. Funny that I did tackle APA hockey and really dove into that and kind of made that my baby. That took a long time, but I enjoy the APA. But it took a while to make that my own. This one here, when I finally dug it out and I'm watching the playoffs, I said, I'm going to read the rule book here, damn it, and I'm going to figure out how to play this game. And I read the rule book. I was like, holy cow, this is not what I expected. This is wicked easy. And so the rule book is laid out so good, so good. And I've mentioned this before. It reminds me of the Strat Hockey rule book, where it tells you everything that can possibly happen on a symbol or a roll. And then there's a couple examples too to kind of help you, follow along, so to speak, because you can read it all day long, but until you say, okay, so if this happens, then this is the result. Then you start to put two to two together, so you see how the engine works a little bit. Okay, so I see now. So if this is this, then this must be this, and that's kind of how a good rule book is written. So the rule book's written out quite well with examples. It shows you the symbols. It talks about what the symbols are and the whole bit, and it's spelled out quite nice, very well. I did have a few questions, and David over on Delphi Forum has answered them all really fast, as well as Hockey Unreal and a few other guys that were like right on top of my questions there. And some of them I was overthinking is what I like to do. So I overthink some things. Some things I thought through and just they confirmed that I was correct, and some things I said no, this is it. Like one of the things was the clearing of the puck, and I'm thinking it's a shot and a save it on a rebound. They have a chance to clear. So the defenseman clear it away. So I'm thinking they clear it back to the offensive team because that's what would happen in hockey. But actually what happens is, according to the rule book and from what David told me, is that on a clear is you're taking the puck away from the offensive person. So the offensive person is trying to take the rebound shot. You clear it away from them, and it goes back to the defense. So in effect, it's an interception from the offensive team. And if I think about APA hockey this way, if you try to clear the puck in APA hockey and you successfully clear the puck, the goalie covers it up. So kind of how I interpret a clearing of the puck is that you've boxed out the other team, and that allows your team to get the puck. Kind of, sort of, in a roundabout way. So if the puck goes to the right wing on a rebound shot and the defense successfully clears it, so in other words, the shot didn't pass the check because the defense successfully cleared the puck away from the guys trying to shoot the rebound. In a roundabout way, that's how it was explained to me. So there was little things like that. The red die, when that lands on a 6, there are certain things that can happen, especially in odd men situations. So that's something that I'm still learning too. So I have my Peter Miller notes off to the side, and I put a big red 6 on certain things that the red die changes. So there's a few things that I'm still picking up on, but it's going pretty smooth. Even the delayed penalties. Oh my gosh, I love the delayed penalties in this game. How it gives you a chance for a shot on the net. Things like that I really like. So the rule book laid out really well. All my questions have been answered in a very timely fashion on the Delphi site. I've even been emailing a couple of people with questions, but my questions just they're not game records by any means. It's just okay. What happens? What happens in a situation where it's a 4-on-3 and this guy takes a shot and it goes to the empty position? How do I handle that? Things like that. It's because it's mostly the penalties, and every hockey game the penalties are a problem. Okay, so the rule book is great. Big thumbs up. Who did that? There's a couple little things in there. Again, it's mostly the shorthanded stuff. Is if you get the puck and it's a possible pass, it's really an interception. So I'm still working through some of that there, but 95% of the game moves right along for me, and I'm really enjoying it. Now let's get to the cards here. So let me hide this here, and let's get to the cards. Okay, so I got a little PowerPoint thing here I'm going to try to do and show you about the cards. Okay. Now, oh boy, there's my point. I need my laser. There's my laser right here. I want to talk about the cards a little bit more in depth. I know I showed them off a little bit on a stream earlier, but let's talk about the cards. So let's start on the left over here with Stan the Man Mikita. Okay, center is his position. Okay, AA is his face-off rating. That's the highest face-off rating you can get. It's either blank A or AA, and what that means is on the face-off grid. When you roll for the face-off, sometimes it'll have a position and it'll say A or AA. So if Mikita's AA and the other face-off man is not AA, then he will win everything that says AA, no matter what team the face-off was supposed to go to. If the other face-off man is just a plain A, then he will win everything AA, but not A. I mean, just single A. And then if the other face-off man has no rating, he wins everything A and AA. So again, there's A and AA, and it's actually just kind of more of just if you think about it, that if he's AA and the other guy is nothing, anything that's A and AA, Mikita wins. Okay, so he has the advantage. If this other guy is a single A, Mikita can only win the double A because the A's cancel out if you follow that. And if both are double A, then both cancel out and nobody gets it. So that's kind of how the face-offs work. I probably made that sound a lot more complex than it was, but it's really simple. It's just if you have the advantage, great. And not everybody's AA. Only the really good face-off men are. In fact, there's a lot of face-off men that are just have nothing, so you just go with what's on the grid. The face-off grid, if it goes to an orange position, that's visitors. If it goes to a black position, that's home. Occasionally, it'll say power play team. So no matter what color it is, it goes to the team on the power play, things like that. So the face-offs are a piece of cake. They really are. And I probably made that sound way too complicated. And that's the thing about this game. It's hard to explain this game because there's a lot to it. But once you play it, it's like, oh, this is easy. It just is. All right, so on the left over here, the N, that's his normal shooting range. And I think I talked about the shooting range. The first number is the blue die. The second number, 5 right here, that is the combination of the white dice. And then finally, so if you were to roll a blue 2, you would need to check the white dice. If you rolled a 5 on the white dice, then you need to check the parentheses number. That would be a 3. That would be the red die. An easy way to think about this is if you roll a 1 on the blue die, the shot's in range. You don't have to think about anything else. It's on net. If you roll above a 2 on the blue die, it's out of range. Don't bother checking anything else. So the only time you go further than the blue die is if that lands right on the 2, then you need to check the white die and then possibly the red. So the N is the normal range. P is your power play. That goes for everybody. D, I believe that's if you have a forward playing defense, is what the D is there. And then S is your shorthand range. So you got 4 shooting ranges here. I don't ever use the D because I don't ever have forwards playing defense. I just don't do that. On the side over here, this O and E. This is a little confusing here, but now that I get the hang of it, it's easy. O is odd, E is even. So on a penalty, if you were to get a penalty, you'd roll the dice. If it's an odd result, you look on the left column. If it's an even result, you look on the right column. So you can see how this is a dash A dash, dash A dash, A dash, dash. A dash is your normal penalty. It says 2-minute minor, you're done. If you get anything else, you got to look at the chart to see what it is. And sometimes it's coincidental. Sometimes it's a double minor or something like that. So I still haven't learned all the penalties yet, so I have my penalty, the rulebook handy for the penalties. So if it's anything but a dash, I go look up to see what it is and explains it, and it's pretty easy. If you roll I believe it's a 1 or a 2 on the blue die, because that's what you're looking for, an odd, an even, and a penalty, then it's a delayed call. So you look at the red die, and the red die is over here on the pass column. So you see who the puck would go to, and that person on the other team would get a chance for a shot on net during the delayed call. Anything but a shot on net, whistle blows. You don't even follow up with another penalty. It's just whistle blows, and you assess the penalty to Makita. So O and E, that's your penalty over here. The other part, 2, 12, and 1, 6, that's your grid. Okay, that's your grid to what happens during the game. And I'll go over some of the symbols in 1 second here. The pass over here, the 1 to 6, this is your red die. Usually it's your, in fact, always it's your red die. And that tells you if it's intercepted, what player on the other team gets the puck, or if it's a pass, what player gets the puck. So that's how the red die works over here with the 1 to 6. Down the bottom, you have your minor penalties. You have your major penalty rating. You have your game misconduct rating, I believe that is, and then your misconduct rating as well. AS is your assist rating. Pass +2. This is if you get the @ symbol, this little @ symbol right there. That's when you start checking this area here to set up for a pass. And I'll explain that in 1 second. S is a screen, and that comes in handy when you're checking the clearing ratings. This little star here means he's a good penalty killer, so you would add 1 to the shorthanded defense. And this big 2 is his defensive rating. It's a 2. Aside from that, you have up here, you want as many symbols as possible on the card. This is a forecheck symbol, okay? And some players over here on the right have a line, and that's your intimidation. He does not have that. He only has the forecheck symbol here. Aside from that, it shows you how many games he played, the team he plays for. I think that's a shift rating, like how many shifts he can play in a game. And then down the bottom, it's just got some stats here. So that's a forward card, pretty much. If we look at the defense, this is the Bobby Orr card here. Again, his games played, the team he played for, his position over here, his shooting ranges, his normal power play. Don't worry about the defense because, he's not a forward playing defense, and his shorthanded range. His penalty ratings over here on the left. You roll odd and then even, and you look at the number here. So, again, if you roll a 3-10, let's say, it's odd 10, so it's just a normal penalty. Here's his grid right here. Here's all his passes. And then down here, it's the same as Makita. The only thing that's a little bit different over here now, he's got a small 5. See, Makita doesn't have a small number. That's the clearing rating for defensemen. And I believe only defensemen have a clearing rating. So on a rebound, you look at the defenseman, you combine the defenseman's small numbers. So let's just say he's out there with Don Ari, and Ari has a 3. So it's a 5 plus a 3. So that's an 8 clearing rating. You would look at the other team to see if anybody has an S. They do. And you would subtract 1 from the 8 to make it 7. And then on the chart, it tells you you roll the dice to see if they clear it or not. It's kind of how that works. Look at the goalie card here, Tony Esposito. Again, he's got his odd and even roll over here for penalties, his 2 to 12 and 1 to 6 grid. Now, he doesn't have passes, he has rebounds. So if anything that's a rebound, you roll the dice here, and this tells you where it goes to. If you roll a 6, you roll again, and then look at the die to see where the puck goes on the rebound. He's got an assist rating as well. You're actually supposed to roll for the goalie assist ratings first. I always forget to do that because goalies never get assists. But if you were to roll a 1, 3, 1, he would get an assist on a goal. So I guess that's something I should check. But that's a real difficult number to get. And then again, he's got his game misconduct and misconduct ratings here. So let's take a look at some of the things going on the card. All right. Again, it's not hard. There's just a lot to it. So I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. And I know, Peter Miller and Hockey Unreal have done the same thing. So I'm just going to try to reiterate what they say. The numbers, if it's just a number, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 6, 8, 12, 11. If it's just a number, you're comparing that number to the opposition's defense, and that rating comes from 3 players. Okay, again, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is crazy, but it's not. So if Makita's the center, he goes up against the center and the 2 defensemen. Those are the 3 players you check, and there's a small adjustment for the center as well. That's on the chart. You don't even got to remember it. If the center gets a shot, you look at the chart. Who are the 3 defensemen on the center has to face? He faces the center and the 2 defensemen, and there's a small adjustment. And I do that in a second. I don't even think about it. If it's the left wing is going against the opponent's right wing, right D, and the center gets a small piece of that too. It's adjusted, but he gets in there. So if you're coming down the right wing, you're not going against their right wing, you're going up against their left wing and their left D. So it's all positional hockey that you got to think about. And you don't even have to really worry about it because it's all in the chart. It tells you if the right wing or the right D takes a shot, here are the 3 guys you look at. If the left D or the left wing takes a shot, here are the guys you look at. And you do it once or twice, and it just becomes human nature. Because if you do know hockey and you know positional play, the right side goes against the left side, and the left side goes against the right side. It's really easy. So that's what the numbers are. You check the team defense. Okay. H means they have to be home. So H9 means if he's the home team, it's basically a 9. You see how that's 6 here? So it's a 6 against the other team's defense. This would be a 9 check against the other team's defense. So if you can equal or beat the other team's defense with a 9 and you're the home team, you get a shot. That's what H is. If he's the visiting team, turnover. Okay. P is an automatic pass. So you would look to the red die to see where the pass goes, and you change the clock. Again, H7, that's if you're the home team, you check the defense of the other 3 guys that you're going up against. If you can match it or beat it with that 7, you get a shot. Same with the 12 and 11. The higher the number, the better. Usually anything up over 10 is going to be a shot on net because you can beat the defense, unless you got some stellar defense you're going up against. But the higher the number, the better. All right, again, another 7 here. X, this is your penalty. So Stan Mikita, if he were to roll a 2-3, that's going to be a X. It's going to be a penalty. And then you roll on the chart over here, again, odd and even, to see what the penalty was and if it's a delayed penalty. Again, this is another H. Now, this is a 4S. Okay, you can see that. It's kind of hard to read. And that's a 3S. S means if you're playing in some kind of a special offense. I don't. It's completely optional. So I ignore the S. Okay, so that's me. If you were playing, like I said, there's a special, late in the game, you're going all out. That's an option. It's an advanced option. I don't use that. And it says if you're doing a season replay to not use that. It's just there if you want to use it. So I don't. Again, X is a penalty. 13, it should be a shot on goal because you're going up against the team defense, and that should be easy. P4. So a P4 this is when you're checking the other team's intimidation. And again, those are those bars that I told you about that are not on either one of these cards, but they're off on the right. Some guys have 1, some guys have 2, some guys have none. So you'd have to look at the other team's intimidation bars. If you can beat it, now the passes are different than the shots. The shots you can get equal to. So again, if he's home 7, if the other team's defense is 7 or less, you've matched it, so you get the shot. The passes you have to beat. Okay, so if the other team had 4 intimidation bars, you don't pass the check, so that'd be an interception. If they have 3 or less, it becomes a pass, and the red die tells you where the pass go. Okay, now the P plus. Anything with a plus, you ignore the letter. A plus is shorthanded. So if you're shorthanded and Mikita rolls here, and a plus is good for shorthanded, that means that you've killed some time. So plus means you hang on to the puck, you flip the time, 24 seconds comes off the clock, and you roll again. So you've successfully killed 24 seconds at a power play. If it's not a power play situation, if you are not shorthanded, or if you are on the power play, ignore the plus, and that P just becomes a pass. H, simple enough. H means if you're the home team, you get a shot. If you're a visitor team, it's an interception. The H9, again, that's if you're the home team, you have a rating of 9 to try to beat the other team's defense. Rebound. That means you have an automatic shot and a chance for a rebound. So you would take the shot. If it's a save, you would look at the Tony Esposito card over here, or whatever the goalie card is, and you would roll to see where the rebound goes. Okay, 1 to 5. And again, if you got a 6, you'd roll again. Once you find out where the rebound goes, then you try to do the clearing attempt for the defense to see if they clear it away. If not, then you get the rebound shot. So R is a rebound shot. I always have to put a little marker on the goalie card because I always, I see the rebound coming. So I do the shot and I figure it out. And sometimes I forget that it was a rebound chance. So I put a little peg on the goalie card to know that that's going to be a rebound chance. And on a rebound, Let's just say the shot's in range and Esposito has to make the save. If it's not a goal, it's an automatic rebound. So just go ignore anything on the goalie card and go right to the rebound here. If it is a goal, then it's a goal. What else do I have on here? The @ symbol. See these little pass boxes here? Pass two, pass two. If you get the @ symbol, you look at the red die, and if everybody else, except for the player with the puck, if you add up the pass numbers here in the box and it's greater than the red die, then you get a play. Let me see here. What else is it? Oh, let me see. The question marks are injury checks. I don't do injuries, so I ignore that. So I don't worry about the injury checks. PPS, again, this is the S. I ignore the S because that's a special situation. So PP means if you're on the power play, you make a pass. If you're not on the power play, if you're even strength or shorthanded, you turn it over. Look at the red die, and there it is right there. D7, that's an interesting one. That means you check the defense only. So you have a 7 rating here. So if you look at Bobby Orr, if he's out there with Don Ari, and Don Ari's a 3, so you got a 5 and a 3, that's an 8. That's 7's less than 8, so that's a turnover. But I like the D7s because they're easy. You just check the 2 defensemen. And you see how big these numbers are? You can't miss them. You can't miss them. So it's not like you're squinting and looking. These numbers are so big to do the math. It's just so easy. It really is. And I think that's about everything here. So again, a straight up number is just a straight up defense check against 3 skaters on the other team. Unless they're shorthanded, then there's a shorthanded chart you look at. The H9 is a number, but you have to be home. Otherwise, it's a turnover. X is your penalty. R is your rebound. P is your pass. Straight up H is a shot if you're the home team. Again, if you're not any of these things, it's an automatic interception. And you look at the red die and just give it to the player on the other team that corresponds to the red die. So if you don't pass, if you can't pass or you can't shoot, then it's an interception pretty much. That's about it on the forward card. Let's look on the defense card. Now, everything's the same over here except for this right here. See this PF1, PF2, PF2. I call it PF Chang. I don't know why. I like Chinese food. That means you're looking at the forechecking of the other team. And see this little cross up here? That's the forechecking symbol. So right here, if Bobby Orr rolls a 1-8, PF1, we look at the other team to see how many forecheckers they have. And because this is only a 1, Nikita has the 1, so Orr loses that. It's a turnover. If he rolls a PF2 and Mikita's the only guy on the other team with a forecheck symbol, or passes the check, it becomes a pass. Look at the red die, see where the pass goes. Everything else is pretty much the same. You got your numbers here. So 13 is good. That's probably going to be an automatic shot. You still check the defense. D8, check the defense only. H, automatic shot. H4S, ignore the S unless you're playing special, which I don't. So H4 means you got to check the other team's defensive rating to see if it's a 4 or less. It's probably not going to be unless you're playing the California Seals. The plus rating, again, that's for shorthanded only. If you're not shorthanded, ignore that, and that's an automatic pass. You get your rebounds. It's pretty much the same as the offense. It really is. Let's take a look at the goalie card now. The goalie card is obviously very different than the forward card. So you get your R is your rebound. Okay, look on the card here. All the R's are a save and a rebound. Anything with a G after it, if the shot's in range, that means it's a goal. So if Makita rolls over here and he rolls a 1-5, let's say, or a 1-8, whatever, he's in range, whatever his shot he takes. And the goalie, when you roll on the goalie card, if it's a G, it's a goal. Okay. X is a possible penalty. It doesn't happen very often, but it's there. Now, the symbols here, see how you have lowercase left wing, and then you have uppercase left wing with the G over here, and uppercase right wing, uppercase left D. Anything uppercase goes to the goalie's team. So if we're a shot on net, Esposito makes the save, and if he rolls a 3-5, it goes to his right wing. If you roll a 3-7, it goes to the shooting's team left D. So anything off the goalie card, it can go to either team if you follow that. So lowercase is bad for the goalie. Uppercase is good for the goalie. F is a face-off, just freezes it. And that's about it on the again. The question mark is an injury. I don't play injuries right now. I probably will at some point, but I don't. But that's the anatomy of a goalie card for the most part. There is a penalty shot rating right here. I almost had one the other day. I was on the Dryden card. I was playing game 1, 70-71, and they took a shot on Dryden, and it was a penalty shot rating. And so the red die has to be a 1, and it was. So I rolled a 112 with a 1 or whatever it was on Dryden's card. Penalty shot 1, but you have to roll the dice again, and the red die has to be 1 or 2 to get that penalty shot, and it wasn't. I think it was like a 4. But I almost had a penalty shot late in the game with Chicago down by a goal. That would have been awesome, but I just missed the roll. But that's kind of what happens over here. So how it plays is Makita rolls. If it's not in range, it's an automatic save. Think of like Apple hockey. If it's not in range, it's an automatic save, but you still roll off the goalie card. So we would roll off the goalie card to see where the puck went. Okay. If it was out of his range and you get this RWG, then you ignore the G because you can't score if it's out of range. You can only score if it's in range. So you'd see where the puck went. Is it a rebound or freezes it, rebound, or what team does it go to, basically? If it's in range, you roll on the card. Anything lowercase is a goal. Okay. Anything lowercase is a goal. Anything with a G after it is a goal. It's kind of simple like that. Very, very Apple-like. And then again, the rebounds are over here. So if you get the rebound, obviously if Makita gets a shot, whoever gets a shot on the goalie, if it's a rebound off the skater card, you ignore anything here and go with the rebound, except the goal. Okay. So if it's a rebound and it's in range and you roll, it's a goal. Obviously, there's no rebound, it's a goal. So a lot of this is just kind of hockey common sense here. So hopefully that helped a little bit there. Again, it's such a hard game to describe. It just is. So I'm doing my best here. It's not easy. The best thing to do is just pick it up. It's really inexpensive. The PDF seasons are very inexpensive as well. And so I have 70-71. I ordered some through drive-through cards, and that's the great thing about it. So you can get the print if you want. So I got some of the older seasons that I like to play in print. I think if I were to get the newer seasons, they're a lot more expensive because there's a lot more teams and a lot more cards. So if I were to get a newer season, I'd probably get the PDF, just print out a couple of teams I'd wanted to play. But the older teams and the older seasons, I like to play all of them. So I'm going to order the print. So I like how you have the option of print or PDF. I really do. So anyway, hey, so I'm Dave. And again, I'm chatting a little more hockey bones today, just trying to explain it a little bit more. It is such a hard game to explain because there's a lot to it and your head starts spinning. But I bet if you were to follow along with the rule book and watch this video, or Peter Miller or Hockey Unreal, if you watched any of those guys do their hockey bones videos and you had the rule book in tow, it would make so much more sense. Or just try to play it. Have the rule book in front of you, put it out in front of you, roll the dice, see what the symbol says, look at the chart, and you start following along so fast. Really, you'll have 90% of the game down after the first period because it's the same 5 or 6 symbols over and over and over. And then you start getting good at like what I'm looking at and what happens. And very rarely do I get tripped up. Even in my very first game, I didn't get tripped up. I mean, occasionally on a power play, if it goes to a vacant position, I'd have to look up what happened. But this game flows. It's easy. It really is. It's easier than it looks. It's easier than I've explained it. But so is Hockey Bones a real deal? I think so. I think so. I'm enjoying it. I can't wait to go play it right now. I'm trying to get through work so I can go play some more of it here today. But anyway, hey, I'm Dave. If you got any questions, let me know. If you got any questions about the game, go to the Delphi forums. They've been fantastic over there, clarifying a few things. And again, play it your way. There's a few things I've changed already. Not much, but a couple little things that I'm like, I think I'm going to play it like this because it's just more fun for me. And so just do what you want to do. But anyway, I'm Dave, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.